Shadows in the Smoke is intended for mature audiences and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode description for content warnings and listen with care. Miss De Niro. Oliver lays dying on the floor, and Mrs. Theodora Brathwaite just regards you with interest, her hands clasped gently in front of her.
Ina thinks on this for a moment. At this point, it feels like an act of war. And so in looking at this boy, and if she wants to show her enemy her most private, sacred act that she commits, she begins thinking a bit strategically about what to do, but then upon seeing the boy, seeing the blood, hearing his wet, shallow gasps, she lets go of the strategy for a moment, kneels down beside him, and gently takes his head and places it on her lap, putting her hand over his to apply a little bit more pressure to the gash in his throat. He looks up at her, he tries to speak, and she just very quietly whispers, "Don't speak. It's already been said. You did well. That matters. Your family will be taken care of, I can promise you that." He starts to cry, and some tears run down his cheek, and she just gently, with that hand that she took the glove off in preparation to potentially fight Theodora, she takes that hand with Aegis on it, and it starts to glow, but it's much fainter this time as she traces this tear that's running down the side of his face. And as he takes his last breath, she whispers one more time, "I will remember you." Oliver slowly slips away. She closes his eyes and sits there for a moment as that breeze starts to run through her hair, her eyes glowing a little more gold. She turns back to Theodora and looks up at her from her seat on the ground. "Was it everything you hoped it would be?"
It was informative. Thank you, Miss De Niro.
Ina gently places Oliver's head on the ground and stands. There's obviously now a trail of blood running down the front of her outfit. She looks at her hand that's still glowing and then looks back at Theodora. "Sometimes when we see what we think we want, we are robbed of everything that we can have. I would remind you to remember that, and to remember that crossing me is crossing more than just myself." And she closes her hand, and the light goes out.
My dear, I did not wish to cross you. You looked tense. I thought you could use a release. Well, no matter. I enjoyed this, Miss De Niro. I look forward to next time. Now please see yourself out. I have other things to do.
Ina looks her up and down very slowly and then proceeds to walk out of the room, goes out through the hall, leaves the townhouse, and stands for a moment, watching as the sun begins to set. And as she stands there, despite this feeling of fullness, she begins to tremble and feel the immense weight of guilt of a life taken that did not deserve to be.
Welcome to the dusk. We begin the dusk as we always do with a quickening roll. Mr. Hutchinson, if you please.
Oh, God.
1 and 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6.
Okay. T, what's happening?
For decades, the man known as One Shot John, Augustus Hutchinson, has been struggling to contain the ravenous creature, the monster lurking just beneath the surface. Tonight, not for the first time, but for the first time in this green and pleasant land, he loses control.
Yes!
I am going to take the fail, but I am not going to take the retire this character fail.
All right, so on a miss, reveal your curse to another hunter and ask for their help controlling you this night. If they agree, neither of you can take any action that would trigger a move during the upcoming night phase, though you should still narrate scenes showing how the cursed character is being controlled throughout the night. During the dawn phase, you each mark 1 XP. Additionally, they get to define something interesting about your transformation. That information is a clue that can be used on the threat, the cursed. This option can only be chosen once. So I suppose do some thinking as to who you might like to ask to watch you.
I already know. As Augustus's teeth sharpen to a razor edge and row after row sprouts in his mouth and phalanxes down his throat, his mandible dislocates, cracks, and elongates to accommodate the new teeth. And he tries to grit down and swallow through the pain as he usually does, but as lesions split his back on either side of his spine and the pain wrenches his mouth open in a tormented howl, he knows he can't do this alone. Flesh begins to protrude from his shoulder and below his ribs. His facial bones shatter and change as his nose and lips pull forward into a long muzzle. His chest sprouts a field of thick white hair, each sharpened to a harpoon-like quill. Another tear splits just below his navel and widens in a sickle-shaped rend, which boils and bubbles. He clutches his guts and realizes that this is going to happen whether he wills it or no. So he bursts into the hall, throwing open the bookshelf, looking desperately for her, grasping onto the last remaining bit of human in him, calling out for her, knowing that she will hate to see him like this, but that he needs her. Maisie!
I'm required by law to ask, Maisie, are you doing Moonlight Upon the Waves tonight?
Let me think about it.
Man, I don't know.
I mean, if there was something more interesting, like maybe, I don't know. No, absolutely not. Fuck that. Fuck that.
All right, so that's y'all's night phase. I'm excited. Next, I would like to invite you all to answer a question, should you wish. We have 2 threats that we are currently working on. The first is Figs Pigs. We have 3 questions, each one a complexity 2. We've amassed 2 clues for Figs Pigs. And then we have the Nutcracker. We have amassed 9 clues for the Nutcracker.
Let's take a stab at a fig, just for the experience.
The 2 clues we have gathered for Figs Pigs are a collection of skeletal hands, each one smaller than the next, which Mr. Hutchinson pulled out of the mouth of Mock. And Mr. Lloyd, while dining on a nobleman's dime, received a bit of mail for that individual, which told a story about a bunch of chickens that had been brutally slaughtered on this individual's country estate. And what was notable about it was that there were human footprints leading to and from the scene of the slaughter. You have 3 questions for Figs Pigs. What kind of animal does Patrick Fig think he is? What type of victim does Obert Fig prefer? And what did La Hortensia Fig lose that she is trying to recapture or remember? All of them are complexity 2.
My vote would be to go for Patrick.
The second clue just lines up so neatly with Patrick.
Yeah, I agree.
We've joked about the hands being like a rushing nesting doll for a little bit now. What if at the very center of it, it wasn't human skeletal hands, but some sort of like animal's paws?
As like a calling card?
Yeah, especially with it being like chickens in a hen house, it could be something like a fox.
Yeah, I'm leaning on fox.
Yeah, I've got nothing against a fox.
All right. We believe Patrick Fig to be a fox. Someone make a flat roll, please.
T, since you and I are the 2 that came up with these clues, I'll take one, you take one?
Sounds good.
I don't trust T's dice right now.
You shouldn't. That's a 1.
You also shouldn't trust my dice. I got a 2.
All right, so that answer is incorrect, unless you would like to spin a mask at this juncture.
Like, no?
Nah.
We've got time.
I dread whatever hard move Kim is going to take against us using the figs, but I think we have to pass on it for now.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Well, the problem is we either waste the mask of the pig now or we all spend an individual mask.
Well, we're not doing that.
Listen, we've taken a lot of stuff away from Kim with like good rolls over several of these threats, so...
You want to give her one?
Now that makes it sound like it's pity, but like...
Y'all did a bad roll on the lurker and I killed Jenny Johnson and turned her into a vampire.
I mean, that's true. That's true. I think it's too early. Like, we've done too little work on that, I think, to blow through that, like, the threat mask. And I don't want to spend
I
a
agree.
mask of the past on a complexity 2 question. So I think we just let Kim do the work she was destined to do.
I mean, Cass, they're all complexity 2 questions.
I get that. I think we learned that maybe we should go with, like, Robert's suggestion of having more clues than the complexity merits so that we have some wiggle room next time.
Now we know decidedly he is not a fox.
Do we lose the clues?
The clues go back into your list to either be used in a different way to answer for Patrick or to apply to another fig. Your choice.
Okay, I can live with it.
I can also live with it.
All right, so we will see how the figs will retaliate. Now, a question. Hutchinson and Miss Douglas are going to be doing their own little night phase. So I suppose the question is for Mr. Lloyd and Ms. Thanero. Are you interested in doing a London night phase or a Hargrave House night phase? Technically, the scene for the American in the quickening can happen in either permutation of the night phase.
Well, it's been a while since we've done a Hargrave House night phase, and I don't have any plans for tonight.
I also agree with Robert. We haven't done a Hargrave House night phase in a while, and I also did not have any plans this evening, given what I experienced today. So I'm probably staying in as well.
Miss Thanero needs a self-care day. And what better self-care day than to explore one of your spooky rooms in your house?
Hey, that sounds like a vibe. As long as I don't have to go outside and see people I don't like or know, I'm fine.
Above the table, I had told everyone that I anticipated that their next Hargrave House night phase, whenever they may choose to pull that trigger, is probably the last one that will happen in this season of Shadows in the Smoke. Just because, things are going to start getting a little hairy. You're probably not going to have a lot of opportunities to just hang out at home anymore. All this said, I didn't select rooms for you all this go around. Instead, I turned it to you all to posit some rooms that you have read about or heard about that you might be interested in exploring, considering this might be the last one that we do this season. So, who has a room that they would like to experience? T and Nat, you are more than welcome to posit rooms. I might still give you some, paint the scenes and stuff like that to be doing during it. Just your character will not be physically present.
I feel like we've been talking about the conservatory every time.
The only other one I would pitch is Bell Tower and Parapet so that we have an upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah, that one's come up a fair few times too.
I really like the conservatory, but I could go either way.
Can we get a quick door read just between these two? And then I will not decide because the worst thing you can do to a Libra is give me a choice between two things.
And I have 2 Libras at the table. The Bell Tower and Parapets read as follows. A slender door hides a narrow spiral staircase leading to the rooftop of Hargrave House. The mewling of cats can be heard above. And then, the conservatory. A beautiful room of green and glass is visible through the large window on this door. The sun-dappled charm of the conservatory is only marred by its association with one of Hargrave House's most infamous residents.
I feel like there has been breadcrumbing for the conservatory throughout this campaign, even unintentionally on our parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate cats. So, not me. Hutchinson hates cats. I think we should do the conservatory. As much as I like a pan down to switch locations, I think the conservatory is going to bear more fruit.
All right, is everyone in agreement?
I am in agreement.
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Miss Douglas, you just heard a most unusual call from down the hall.
Maisie is sitting in bed, not really wanting to go to sleep. And so hearing someone call for her gives her an excuse to not go to sleep right now. So she pokes her head out the door. Hello? What's up? Rabbit? Hello?
You're looking down the hallway and around the corner from deeper in the house, you see starting to crawl now on the ground this still mostly Hutchinson-shaped amalgam of flesh and split bone and hair with a truly malformed mouth, who looks at you, and even from that far away, you can see the fear in his eyes. Room! My room!
Maisie just kind of stands there in shock and is like, that kind of looks like Mr. Hutchinson?
I try and bring myself to standing, and as I do, these twin fleshy limbs erupt from beneath my rib cage and find purchase on the floor, and I fall onto all fours and start coughing up blood.
Oh God, what has happened to you?
Help me!
Okay. Room. You said room. Can you climb stairs?
I barely managed to nod.
Maisie tries to put arms around you in any way possible and just starts heaving you up the stairs.
Elsewhere in Hargrave House, Mr. Lloyd and Miss Thanero, where do we find you?
Well, I think the reason Rabbit can't hear any of this is because he's already in the conservatory. You know, it is effectively a greenhouse attached to the house, so it's probably relatively sound dampened from there. And he has been feeling a bit stretched, a bit scattered recently, and so he is doing what he does best, going to a green space and sort of calming himself down.
Ina, having had her moment with Theodora, is both full and empty at the same time, which is a rather rare feeling for her. Her eyes still have a hint of that glowing gold. Her hair is still moving slightly with that unseen breeze, but she looks exhausted, despite having filled herself from the murder of the servant. So she's been wandering around the house kind of aimlessly, and I think she stumbles into the conservatory, not expecting to see Rabbit in there.
Hello.
Oh, Gods, you startled me.
Sorry, not my intention. Lovely night, isn't it? Despite all the horrors, all the worst things we see in this job, sometimes you still have to just look up at the stars and say, well, they're still burning. I can go on.
Today I feel as if I've been burned from the inside out. Being in nature has always been a bit of a balm for me on days like this, but it's a bit too chilly to be out in London tonight, so the conservatory seemed the next best place.
My thoughts exactly.
Ina walks over and sits on a park bench that is settled in the middle of the conservatory. It kind of wraps around a large tree that's in the middle of it.
There was a time not too long ago where, in a similar setting, we had a conversation about dreams. I think we might need to revisit that soon.
Ina looks Rabbit up and down a little bit at this and cocks her head. Why would we need to bring that back up?
I told you that I don't dream, and I can't quite explain it at this moment, but for reasons similar to that, my time in Hargrave House might not last much longer. There's an old story about a man who awakes from a dream of being a butterfly, and in that moment, he is unsure whether he was a butterfly dreaming of a man or a man dreaming of being a butterfly. And frankly, recently, I think I'm turning more into the butterfly dreaming of a man.
I can see how that would pull you from this reality and into another.
I wish it were as simple as that. But, long story short, I've had this conversation with Miss Douglas, but there are some things I think we should do so that when it happens, my absence is not quite as strongly missed.
I think regardless of any plans laid, we would all miss you here.
That means a lot to me.
Let's describe the conservatory itself. We see tall bay windows looking out into the garden, rattan and wrought iron furniture. All around, there are potted plants and trees. This is a very serene space. Paint the scene. A former hunter in residence turned out to be the legendary killer, Roger the Reaver. This was his favorite room in Hargrave House. Looking around, how do you know this?
In addition to the wrought iron furniture here, there's one comfortable leather armchair, a stack of books, and even the facsimile of a fireplace that is filled with red poppies and bright orange flowers.
Next to this comfortable chair, there is also a very beautifully carved wooden cabinet with glass doors that contains a collection of many different liquors, as well as oil of sweet vitriol, or what we know as ether.
Among the beautiful plants housed in this conservatory, one might note that there are Venus flytraps, pitcher plants, sundews, bloodroot, all different plants that consume nutrients from blood. It might be animals, it might be insects, but it is blood nonetheless.
And over by the stack of books, there is one particularly well-worn one. Its pages thumbed and dog-eared. It is titled The Myths and Traditions of the Nordic People.
Let's return upstairs to Ms. Douglas and the transforming Mr. Hutchinson.
As Maisie ushers Hutchinson back into his room and into his cage, he tries to fasten the manacle around his neck himself, but his fingers are melding together and stitching into a fingerless appendage, and he looks at you with desperation and terror in his eyes.
Maisie knows exactly what that feels like, and she knows that fear, and she immediately takes the manacle out of your hands and starts clamping it around your neck.
The moment it latches, Hutchinson pushes you away from him, not trying to hurt you, but in order to protect you, like a parent wrenching their child out of traffic.
She falls back a couple feet, but doesn't leave.
As you watch, the part of the creature that was one-shot John, that was Augustus Hutchinson, shifts and disappears, replaced by a creature. This is what it looks like. The first thing you notice is that the creature has the legs of a horse. However, it has 8 of them. As it tips over and falls forward onto them, you see the fur on its back is slick and black as oil, and twin appendages that resemble nothing so much as bat wings erupt from its back. The whole thing terminates in a long crocodilian-like tail. Its head is that of a big black wolf's, with a long muzzle and pointed ears, but its mouth is filled with row after row after row of shark-like teeth going down its throat. Its ventral side is bristling with long, white, barbed hairs sharp as porcupine quills, and a second head emerges from the creature's loins just below its belly, which is that of a goat whose eyes are unfortunately still human. And as you stare at those last remains of Hutchinson, the iris turns gold, the pupil seems to elongate to a vertical slit, and just as quickly you realize it's actually flesh sprouting from the lens and covering them up, sealing them away, for this is a creature that none should look upon, not even itself.
What is this?
So anybody else looking at it might describe it as a giant wolf or a horse or perhaps a dragon, but Maisie would recognize that the quills are not so much like porcupines as they are sea urchins. And while yes, spiders have 8 legs, so do crabs. And the wings aren't wings at all, they're enormous fins. This is a sea monster. I call it the Chimerican.
Okay. Right. Do you speak?
The goat mouth opens, and from it shoots out a long prehensile tongue, more akin to a tentacle than it is lingual muscle, which wraps around the bars of the cage and tries to wrench them apart.
I'm gonna take that as a no. Maisie just sits on the ground and just stares at this thing and just starts taking stock of what it is.
What's going through your mind?
Honestly, not surprise in the sense of what this is. Maisie's aware that there are things beyond comprehension, and this is not her first time seeing weird things with too many legs. She lives in the ocean. We don't know what's down there. And it's more just the fact that Mr. Hutchinson was this all along, and she'd never even thought that this could possibly be something that he was hiding. It's a weird balance of sadness at the betrayal of not being trusted, but also awe at the ability to keep this secret.
Let's go back to the conservatory. I suppose first, a question. We're about to enter, similarly to the ballroom, a flashback to a series of events that took place here several decades ago. How is it that we're viewing this? Is this yet another dream that Rabbit is bringing to life?
If it is, I don't think it's intentionally. I think this is maybe some dark magic because of the blood spilled in this place is sort of using Rabbit to tell its story.
I like it. All right. Cass. The year is 1845, and Roger has just brought his next victim to Hargrave House. Describe their entrance into the conservatory. How do we know they've just returned from a party, ebullient?
They slip into the conservatory arm in arm, both flushed with laughter and the thrill of escaping the crowded ballroom. Lantern light scatters across the glass ceiling, catching on the greenery and turning their entrance into something almost theatrical. The young girl twirls through the ferns, her skirts swirling, breathless with delight. He follows with a smooth, effortless charm, softly closing the door and locking it without the young girl's notice. The air is thick with jasmine. Roger moves to a well-used gramophone on a table near a warm leather chair. After a moment, music begins to play, bouncing softly off the glass bay windows. He extends a hand, polite, steady, practiced, and she takes it without hesitation, glowing and breathless. Together they drift around the room, their buoyant energy trailing behind them like ribbons, as the conservatory and the plants within swallow their laughter.
Back to the rooms of Mr. Hutchinson.
The creature is, with every possible moment and different angle, never testing the same part of the cage twice, trying to break free and kill you.
Considering that Mr. Hutchinson has kept this secret the entire time Maisie's been here, I think she just assumes that this cage is sturdy, that this has definitely happened before, and this is safe. This is a safe place to be right now, outside of this cage. Well, considering that you don't talk, for once, which is nice, maybe you can just sit and listen, which you're also not very good at doing, but maybe this version of you can. I don't know if Rabbit's talked to you yet, but he's saying that he might leave Hargrave at some point, and I don't really know how to feel about it, because I feel like he hasn't been here that long, but I guess he has been here longer than I have, but it's just, I feel like he hasn't been here that long since I've been here, and I don't know, did you know?
When you say rabbit, you notice the creature's wolf ears perk up, and it stops actively gnashing and chomping and biting, and instead does quiet and tilt its ears toward you. And looking around the room, you can see, I know you've been in here before. Hutchinson doesn't, but I know you've been in here before. But of all of the things One Shot could have chosen to soundproof his room with, he chose books. He chose stories.
You know, someone gave me a book once when I first moved in here, and you seem to like books, so I'll be right back. And Maisie runs to her room and brings back the copy of fairy tales that she got way, way back when. So there was one page marked, it felt kind of very pointedly like, you're a sea creature, you'll like a sea story. So maybe I'll read you this one, because you're also kind of a sea creature, right? You've got like a weird tail and some fins. I don't really know what you are. You're a lot.
As you are returning, you see the creature kind of settle down almost into a pounce, like a lion coming down to rest. And you can see between the knobs of the fins, there are slits resembling gills.
So this is the tale of The Little Mermaid. I've already read it. It's really sad, but it feels kind of appropriate. You know, oh my God, you know when I went to the ballet, it was kind of like that. And she just starts reading The Little Mermaid to you.
Let's go back to the conservatory. Nat, you're on double duty tonight. Continue the scene showing Roger and his soon-to-be victim enjoying each other's company, laughing, celebrating, and generally having a good time. What red flags does Roger's companion fail to notice throughout the night?
Roger continues to twirl his young partner across the tiled floor of the conservatory. As she spins around the room, she fails to notice the hints of dried blood that just haven't been fully gotten out from between them. Eventually, once they've had their fill, both panting for breath, Roger offers her a seat in the very comfortable chair that he has here, choosing to stand himself, and they partake in some of the liquor from his cabinet. They're already drunk by this point, having just come from a party, and it's easy for Roger to substitute stronger substances for what she thinks might be alcohol. She drunkenly stands and stumbles around looking at the different flowers, completely missing the row of gardening tools, a machete, a pair of shears, a saw, that are all much too clean to be used on plants.
We return back upstairs.
As you read the story, the creature folds its legs underneath itself and actually begins to relax. The breathing steadies, and you see it develop something resembling tranquility. It's not asleep, but it's focused, and it's not berserk.
As that change in its demeanor starts to take place, Maisie starts scooting her way across the floor, originally leaning against one of the bookshelves lining the wall, until she is instead sitting as close to face with this creature, the book still in between them. And as she finishes the story of the young girl turning into sea foam, she closes the book slightly and just says, Do you have like a favorite story? She holds up the table of contents. Could you possibly try and... I know you understand things. Do you want to pick the next one?
As you hold the book open with the pages toward it, you feel it first in your bones before you hear it, but a primeval growl begins.
If you have another book that you like, I can go get that one.
Jaws snap against the bars of the cage.
Maisie jumps back from that. Okay, that's all right. She backs up into a corner. Look, I know maybe you don't... I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell. I'm not going to leave. So you're just going to have to deal with that.
As you sit there and watch, the tranquility that the storytelling had brought over this creature fades away, and it begins to thrash and batter itself against the bars of its cage, pulling taut on the manacle, going and raging against the other, tossing its head, that snake-like tongue, again, lashing at the bars, trying to break them open. But you do see the cage is strong. Whoever made it for something large and made it to withstand a lot of force.
Maisie sees a glass of water just sitting on a nightstand in the room and just sort of lifts the water out of the glass and starts dancing it in little bubbles of water, little pearls of water, just like around the cage. The moonlight sort of refracting through them.
And the beauty is lost on this creature who cannot see.
Let's make our final trip to the conservatory. Robert narrates Roger killing his prey. The scene should be extremely violent and bloody. What about the killing makes it seem ritualistic, even religious?
As the stronger stuff that Roger slipped his dancing partner begins to take hold, she slumps to the ground. He takes her and carefully puts her in a prostrate position, her legs on the ground, her face resting upon her knees. He unbuttons the buttons of her dress slowly, one by one, exposing her back but not fully removing the dress. Over by his piles of books, he grabs a small scalpel, makes an incision along her spine, peeling the skin back and revealing her ribcage. He takes the gardening shears off of the rack and one by one snaps each of her ribs, separating them from the spine. Very carefully, for she is still alive as he is doing all of this. He reaches into the cavity and pulls out her lungs, placing them upon the spread ribs as though they were a pair of angel's wings. And as she breathes her last, those lungs quivering as she gasps for air, he simply mutters to himself, "How the little piggies will grunt when they hear how the old boar suffered."
Mr. Lloyd and Miss De Niro, as this particularly bloody vision fades, how do we find you?
Rabbit is shaken by this. He did not call upon this vision. This was some dark, ancient blood magic working its way through him. He came here to try and find himself, try and pull himself back together, and is instead feeling even more pulled apart. As these nightmarish visions meld with the ones earlier he had seen at the ballet, and the countless nightmares that flow to the surface of his mind that he had experienced while serving the Queen of the Unseelie court. Sorry, that wasn't me. It's a nice reminder, though. Even the most beautiful parts of this world have their darkness.
Ina is just staring straight forward, still seated on this bench. She has seen the vision, and it has not moved her. For over her many, many years of life, she has seen violence in every incarnation imaginable. And so it doesn't faze her. It certainly doesn't comfort her, but it leaves her with this feeling of unending emptiness. And she looks over to Rabbit, sees him shaking, and doesn't have the will to try to comfort him or explain it. She just sits there. The gold in her eyes has gone out. The breeze in her hair is gone. For once, she looks ancient, and she just stares at Rabbit quietly, and then goes back to staring off at something we can't see.
As the dark before the dawn deepens to its nadir, the bones in the extra appendages dissolve and the flesh sinks back into Hutchinson. Maisie sees the man that she knew, a steel manacle wrapped around his neck, the chain tied to the floor, covered in sweat, breathing heavy as his mandible retracts, connects back into his TMJ, and the teeth return to human. Did I hurt you?
Well, you're not wearing any clothes, so it's kind of weird to see you like this.
He laughs.
But no, other than that, it was fine.
Thank you for tending to me.
That's what friends do.
He begins to silently weep.
Maisie does too. She's a sympathetic crier.
You were right about me, you know. I am a coward. I've been keeping this from y'all. Doing my best to bed it down, but it's gonna get the best of me no matter what side of the ocean I'm on.
Is there anything we can do?
I don't know, but if I lose control again, if we can't keep me caged, I hope you do what needs to be done.
No.
Maisie.
No. I cannot keep losing people. I can't.
Sometimes you don't have a say in the matter, girl. I have a daughter, be about your age. I ain't seen her since the day I left her on my parents' doorstep, but sometimes in order to protect the people dearest to you, you have to leave them behind.
You can ask many things of me, but I will not do this. I won't.
She will.
Then ask her.
Like I said, you're right about me. Please don't tell her. I know I need to, but I don't know how, but it should come from me.
I know. This is not mine to tell.
He nods and bows his head in gratitude.
Are you all right now?
I'm tired and I'm hungry, but I'm no more danger to you than I usually am.
Grand. She walks out of the room.
Natural talent as a storyteller, that one. And he unfastens the manacle and just sits in the cage for a while.
Welcome to the dawn.
Great to be here.
We made it.
I've aged 10 years this night.
First order of business, T and Natalia, go ahead and mark 1 point of experience.
Yay! For friendship.
Yep, for the power of friendship. And Natalia, please define something interesting about Mr. Hutchinson's transformation. This will be a clue that will be used whenever we unlock the threat, the Cursed.
In Mr. Hutchinson's human form, he is covered in these scars that disappear when he turns into his cursed form. But instead, what he has in his cursed form that he doesn't have in his human form is a brand of a sun in the middle of his spine between his wings.
All right, everyone add that to your notes for whenever the Cursed is unveiled. Next order of business, we did a room in Hargrave House, so you get things. You all may claim an item mentioned or implied during these prompt narrations and add it to your personal quarters.
I'll take the gramophone.
I am going to take a potted Venus flytrap.
Should we call it the Aphrodite flytrap, or are we good?
Hell yes, we should. That's what I'm going to put it into my personal quarters items as.
I'll take Roger's scalpel.
I think I'm going to take one of the broken ribs.
And now the conservatory is unlocked.
Yay!
Hooray!
New room.
The move you have unlocked is as follows. The first time you murder a side character in the conservatory in the manner of Roger the Reaver, clear all of your conditions, including conditions that cannot be cleared in the normal way.
What?
And then mark the first box below. Hereafter, whenever you murder someone in cold blood, mark the next box. This move is available to all hunters until one hunter uses it, at which point only that hunter can use the move. The first box. Increase your sensitivity by 2, max of +3, as your mind opens up to the infinite possibilities of the universe. Then take the condition, I am. This condition can never be cleared. The second box. Increase your reason by 2, max of 3, as your mind becomes a perfect grid for organizing and tracking your prey. Then take the condition, Roger. This condition can never be cleared. And the final box, increase your vitality by 2, max of +3, as the power of the Reaver courses through you. Describe how your body outwardly manifests this change, then take the condition, the Reaver. This condition can never be cleared.
And then you just become Roger the Reaver?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, you get to keep playing. You just can't take any conditions.
That's pretty sick. I'm just saying, as someone who consistently has conditions.
Let's go to Dawn questions. Did we answer a question?
No.
Apparently not.
No. Not
No.
successfully.
Did you resolve a threat?
No.
Did you get an echo in the night?
We can't.
We
No.
can't. Oh,
Miss Thanero, did you appear in London society wearing risque or avant-garde fashion?
my forever yes.
Did you let someone touch you and then make them pay the price for doing so?
Yes, at the cobbler.
Ms. Douglas, did you assert your independence or stand up for yourself?
I would say yes during my discussion with Augustus.
And did you mourn being unable to return home?
Yes, I did that earlier with Greco.
Mr. Lloyd, did you have a face-to-face encounter with the dark entity?
I don't think so.
Did you counsel someone using your supernatural affinities as the basis for that advice?
That one I did do with Maisie in the morning.
And Mr. Hutchinson, did you use violence to solve a problem?
Yeah, I killed a vampire.
That was a big problem that you solved. And did you share a treasured memory from the States during an intimate moment with another character?
I told James Whistler about a goat biting me on the butt with Davy Crockett.
And then we sure saw what happened to that goat. Does anybody level up?
I do.
Mr. Hutchinson, you may choose an advancement.
I'm going to write a custom move.
All right. We will hear what that is. Perhaps the next day phase. I'm excited. Well done, hunters. What an interesting, exciting night. More threats await us in the morning. Sleep well.
Shadows in the Smoke is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jake Pierle. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, an exclusive behind-the-scenes show, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join Shock and all of our incredible Kitten Marlowe patrons in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.